All right, JR, 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes left.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 13 Endurance for Amateurs here on the Pony Express YouTube channel. I am once again your host, JR Kopp, and tonight, season finale. All chips are on the line. These guys are ready to go. In fact, we are going to do a little pre-race driver interview here. Going to grab a couple of guys. Our current GT3 points leader, Mr. Aaron Clayball, we're going to go grab him and see what his thoughts are in the race. Welcome, Aaron, to the broadcast. How are you this evening?
Pretty good, JR. How you doing?
I am doing great. Aaron, last race of the year, you currently are ahead of your teammate, Mr. Paletti, by 2 points. What's the strategy going into Watkins Glen tonight?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one with him and Carl both competing with them. I know they're both got really good speed this week. It's just going to be, I think, eliminating mistakes, navigating slower cars, letting the faster cars go at the right time. I think it's just going to all come down to just perfecting those little parts of the race that I think are going to make the difference.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. I know there's looks like we are going to have a full field here tonight, both GTE and GT3 drivers, so it's going to be packed. Watkins Glen is notorious for good racing and for punishing those that get just a little bit out of line.
Yes, definitely. I think you're going to see a lot of action in the bus stop tonight. In practice, there was a lot of incidents through there, and I think just surviving the first couple laps are going to be key for us if we want to go get the championship.
Awesome. Well, I will let you get back to running some practice laps and get warmed up here before we get ahead to qualifying. Good luck, and who knows, maybe we'll see you in the overall champions winner's circle here in about 2 hours.
Sounds good. Thanks for doing the broadcast all season, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem, Aaron. Good luck tonight, buddy, and we wish you the best.
All right, thank you.
So there we have Mr. Aaron Clayball, who is currently 2 points up on this next gentleman. Mr. Nicholas Paletti, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing rather well.
Well, Nicholas, we've raced all season, 12 rounds, had some chaos to start of the season with LMP2 cars, got those out of the way, and you and Aaron have managed to race 12 rounds and separated by 2 points. What's the strategy going into tonight's race at the wonderful Watkins Glen?
Man, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of strategy that's going to be anything different. Probably just, keep it clean. It's probably going to come down to whichever person is going to go or beat the other. But those bonus points are a wild card. So if you get into an incident or you get too many off tracks, that's just going to would suck to, come in first, not get bonus points, and be beaten by the guy who finished second with more. So I think keeping it clean is going to be almost just as important as trying to race for positions.
Yeah, you got a 2 point gap. I know that's kind of might not be exactly accurate because with the drop weeks in there, but yeah, those bonus points sure are going to come into effect tonight. Although Watkins Glen is not an easy track to race for an hour and 40 minutes clean on. It has a tendency to catch a few people off guard, especially in the bus stop area tonight.
Yeah, I think the other part is going to be turn one. I think if people go a little deep into there and you push with the new track limits, if you go too far out there, you can get a slowdown or an off track. So I think people are going to have to be really careful going into turn one and not oversending it or bumping someone out, because that could, turn into a 4X real quick.
That is correct. Well, Nicholas, I'm going to let you get out of here. I see we're just getting ready to wrap up practice, get ready to start qualifying. Good luck tonight, and who knows, maybe we'll see you in the champions conversation here this evening.
Oh, we hope so. Thank you very much, and enjoy the race.
Yes, we shall. Good luck, Nicholas. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, as we're just getting ready to wrap up practice. Your two top contenders here tonight in GT3, Nicholas Paletti and Aaron Clayball, and of course, there's always Mr. Carl Handwerk, who has been fast all season long. And we have a similar battle over in GTE. We have Mr. Paul Skip is currently leading David Lehman and third place Terry Kroger. Now those guys are in a battle all their own, and it will be curious to see if David Lehman is able to show up. He's been dealing with some issues. David needs to turn up and basically finish and grab a couple of points to wrap up this championship. Paul Skip needs all the points Paul Skip can get tonight in order for him. He's got a few point leeway there depending on where David Lehman finishes. And Terry Kroger Jr., who has battled all season, needs every single point. He needs a race victory, and he needs to do it completely clean and hope for a little bit of assistance as these guys are getting underway with qualifying here. So we'll jump on with Dave Ferrara, a longtime stalemate here in the Pony Express Sim Racing League. Nice to see Dave out there in the Liquid Molly car once again, as we have got a full field of racers tonight. Trying to get an exact count. Looks like I'm seeing 10 for the GTE field tonight. $25 in GT3. So this should be an exciting race. I'm still trying to figure out where Roger Shank is. I think he is in a GT3 car, but for some reason his class is showing up a little differently. So we're going to see if we can get Roger fixed behind the scenes here real quick. There we go. Get Roger set up in the right car. Because we're going to jump over here and check out some of these qualifying times. See if we can get that to populate up on the screen here. There we go. Because again, we got Nicholas Paletti and Aaron Claybaugh and Carl Handwerk, and I'm looking to see there's Carl's name up there, driving the usual red and black and white Ferrari that Carl has put on the top step of the podium here quite a few times already this season. Carl is he's a few points behind. He missed a few races at the beginning of the season, managed to climb his way back from a large deficit all the way up into third. Only 14 points off the lead though. So don't count this man out. He is the master of strategy and clean racing. If anybody here tonight's going to have a good clean race and get all those bonus points, it's going to be this man, Carl Handwerk. Let's see if we can find some of our leaders over here, Mr. Paul Skip, and see how he's doing. See what kind of times Paul can throw up here for qualifying. Does not. Paul must still be on his outlap, so we're still waiting for these guys to run this long outlap as we get set for the final round here in Season 1 of Pony Express Endurance for Amateur Series. What a great season Mark and the guys over there at Pony Express have put on. Really appreciate them allowing me to jump here in the booth and hopefully entertain a few of you. As see Mr. Skip here coming around last couple set of curves. Oh, just gets a little bit wide there. Shouldn't hurt the run up to the start finish line too bad. As Paul is going to cross the finish line. Looks like he's a little bit behind David Lehman, who's on the pole. Nice to see David Lehman back out here. Great job, these guys. Now, David does have quite a bit of a lead because of that extra drop week. So David's got quite a few points in hand on these guys. As we're going to jump over here. Looks like Aaron Claybaugh has jumped up on the pole. And, of course, right behind him, Nicholas Paletti. All right, so it looks like the YouTube is working tonight. All right, so we're going to stick here with Aaron Clayball as we watch Terry Kroger jumps up by half a second to take the provisional pole tonight here at Watkins Glen in the GTE field. Great run by Terry Kroger there. He knows he needs every point to stay in this championship battle. He's going to have to get out front, stay out front, run a clean race, and hope that he gets a little help in the way of David Lehman and Paul Skip having some issues. As we see Nicholas Pletty still managing to stay up on top. Aaron Clayball is still up on top at GT3. Nicholas Pletty 0.3 of a second behind. So managed to close that gap a little bit. You see Jimmy Covert in third. Fourth place is Adria Garcia. Trying to see where Carl is. Carl's down quite a bit tonight. He's almost a full second and a half off the pace so far, but that could be just lap one. So we'll see where Carl slots in here. Still not out of the championship. Nick Terrell puts in a nice time, and Paul Skip manages to jump in front of David Lehman where he needs to be. Paul needs to definitely get up there and battle for this lead here tonight. In fact, let's see if Paul Skip, if we can jump him. I don't think he's on track. I don't want to grab these guys when they're on track. Let's see if we can grab Paul Skip down here real quick. Mr. Paul Skip, I hope I don't interrupt you there, sir.
No, we're good.
So, Paul, currently not counting for adjusted points and drop points, you're leading here in GTE, although David's got a little bit of a cushion on you tonight. What's the strategy? Are we just go for broke and hope for the best?
Well, I think we're just going to have to run the race and see how it turns out, and hope luck is on our side.
So, by my calculations, you you need a good finish. You got to be ahead of. Obviously, you got to be ahead of David Lehman, who it's nice to see he's back. It was great to see. We weren't sure if he was going to make it or not. And you need a little bit of help. And Watkins Glen tends to be a track where people tend to get in a little bit of trouble, especially going through the bus stop there. What are you thinking? Try to stay clean?
Yeah, I'm thinking if I could stay clean, mind the incidents, points. I mean, everybody is fast tonight. You know, Terry's on the pole with a 41 flat. And I'm a full 0.6 behind him. So, just going to have to keep it clean, take care of the tires, and, hope we have a good race.
Well, Paul, I will let you get back. We got just about 2 minutes left to qualifying. Looks like everybody's just about wrapped up. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you tonight in the championship winner circle.
Thanks, JR.
Awesome. Good luck, Paul Skip. Well, there we have it. A little word from Mr. Paul Skip as he gets ready to battle here tonight. As you saw him mention there, Terry Kroger up on the pole with a 141 flat. At your GTE pole sitter. GT3, we got Mr. Aaron Clayball with a 143.5, so not a big difference between GTE and GT3 once again. And unfortunately, we don't... Still got a few guys left out on track. Mark Dillon Jr. jumping in the car tonight. Nice to see Mark out there. Running a few laps in the Alpha Tauri machine. That's a new one for Mr. Dillon. As we see James Foreman, Jason McMurray, and Richard Curry just wrapping up qualifying. So it looks like your top three in GTE, Terry Kroger Jr., Nick Terrell, and Paul Skip. And David Lehman and Paul Skip with identical qualifying times. All three of your top leaders in GTE are going to start in your first four positions. Same thing with GT3. Aaron Clayball, Nicholas Pletty, 1 and 2 in the championship, 1 and 2 on the starting grid. And it looks like Carl Hanberg down in 7th is going to have a little bit of time to make up tonight. So it'd be interesting to see how Carl does. Hopefully, those that are not in contention for the championship understand that, and they at least give these guys some room and let these guys race and battle for the lead. Really hate to see somebody who's not involved in the championship, but that's how racing goes sometimes. as I'm sure they're getting their last driver's brief here as we get ready to get started here on the Pony Express Sim Racing channel. Brought to you by Pony Express Sim Racing, coming to you live from Watkins, Glen, round 13. The final round in the Season 1 Championships. Again, check out ponyexpresssimracing.com. You want to get signed up for next season. They got a whole bunch of new and exciting things going on over there. All right. As we get ready, these guys are going to start gridding up. We're going to run into a nice qualifying lap. Again, here we go. We'll take a quick look at qualifying results. Terry Kroger Jr. on the pole, followed by Nick Terrell, Paul Skip, David Lehman, Brad McCombs. Nice to see Brad up there tonight. Patrick Ripley, friend of the show. Ryan Tyler. Roger Shank running up there in GTE tonight. Great to see Roger out. Daniel Higley, Paul Boyle, and Tyler Langenberg. Over in GT3, we have got a field, and a large field tonight. We'll get running through them. Aaron Pletty and Nicholas Clayball, 1 and 2. Those two are your points battle. And it's going to come down to whichever one of those finishes first is going to take home your championship tonight. Jimmy Covert, Adria Garcia up there, rounding out your top 5. We got Keith Williams, Mark Dillon Jr. up there in 6th place, followed by Carl Handwerk, James Foreman, Daniel Reel, Christopher Lawson, Christopher Newby, Jason McMurray, Richard Curry, Dave Ferrara, Stephen Bartlett, Zachary Nurnberger, Daniel Barnett, Richard Hurst, Tony Watson down in 19th tonight. Let's see, we still got more names coming. Christian, Marcus Osborne, Andrew McMurray, Brad Yonkman, Sean Adkins down in 24th, and rounding out your field tonight in GT3, Gary Schilling. Again, we got a pack. We got 36 drivers on track tonight. It is going to be an interesting race. We really appreciate everyone stopping by. If you like what you see here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the little bell and get notified about all the awesome things we have here on the Pony Express YouTube channel. These guys are going to get ready for a lap around Watkins Glen, following that Mustang pace car iRacing has provided us with tonight. This should be an awesome race, ladies and gentlemen, as we are round 13 and everything is on the line tonight. David Lehman just needs to have a clean race, stay up there around the top 10, and I think he'll wrap up the championship here in GTE. He is also fighting for a championship over in the Open Wheel for Amateur Series, which wraps up on Monday night, once again from Watkins Glen. And down in GT3, Aaron Clayball and Nicholas Pletty starting 1-2. Also running 1-2 in your season points, separated by 2 points. Again, that is a battle of whoever finishes first is going to take home the championship here tonight. Nice to see those guys up there battling. And they're also teammates, so they're going to race each other hard, but they're going to race each other clean, and that's what we like to see here at Pony Express. All right, ladies and gentlemen. See these guys coming through what is going to be ultimately the trickiest part, coming through that bus stop up there. You have a lot of incidents, especially early on in the race. Cold tires, a lot of fuel on these cars, not quite as much grip as you were hoping for. Hopefully everybody gets through there nice and clean, especially your points leaders. I'm not sure if this is actually the case, but it looks like we got a few cars with some incidents maybe in the back. People just not paying attention, running into each other. Woo! All right. Not how you want to start your night, by having an incident on the pace lap. All right. You see these guys coming around the backside of the track, getting ready for an hour and 40 minutes to decide your season champions in GTE and GT3 here tonight. Once again, I just want to give a big shout out to Mark, Dylan, Zachary Nuremberger, Dennis Diaz, Sean Adkins, Tyler Bergert, all those guys over at Pony Express. They do a great job putting these leagues on, getting guys to broadcast, trophies, awards, and taking care of all the issues, getting all the servers set up. So kudos to those guys for all the hard work they do. Thanks again to Roger Shank for the awesome awards and trophies at the end of the year. Really appreciate all Roger's hard work. And in fact, coming up this week on Friday on the podcast, we will announce the Pony Express Sim Racing Podcast Driver of the Year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. As we get ready, the pace car pulls off. Terry Kroger is going to lead us down as he comes off to take the green flag, and we are underway, round 13 from Watkins Glen, live here on the Pony Express YouTube channel. It's Terry Kroger and all the GTE field get through corner one nicely, no incidents so far. That's what we'd like to see. We're going to jump back as we see here comes the GT3 field as they all get underway nice and neat. And here Terry's coming up the hill, coming up into that bus stop chicane for the first time. It looks like Nick Terrell's going to come up the inside already early. Nick's got that pace and that Corvette. Brad McCombs talked about that last week. He had pace. Oh, he gets a little bit hot in the chicane there. Allows for Terry Kroger. No, Terry needs every single point tonight. So Terry doesn't need to lead the first lap, but he needs to make sure he's close enough to lead the last one and stays off the incident points. As we already see, Carl Handwerk is moving his way up. Managed to get past Paul Boyle. As Paul is back there in the pack. He's just out here racing tonight. Paul's not involved in the championship, so it's nice to see him kind of staying out of the way. As we see Terry Kroger Jr. is going around the outside of Nick Terrell. Nick is just out here. Nick's here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to put a W in the checkbox. Oh, as Nick gets loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, but we had an incident behind. Looks like Brad McCombs. As Brad McCombs is crashing, taking Tyler Langenberg with him. All that started with Nick Terrell got loose, and everybody kind of had to check up. Let's see if we can see what happens to Brad McCombs here. Coming around, and you're going to see Tyler Langenberg get loose in front, and Brad locks up and he gets tapped from behind. Oh, what a shame. And you see the GTE field is lucky to get through there. Oh, what a shame for Brad. He's been having such good pace here lately the last couple weeks. Oh, and everybody else manages to get through that. What a bad spot to have an incident. You can't really hide once you're in there. And it's such a blind corner, but the whole GT3 field, nice driving by all those guys. What a shame for Brad. He did not want to see that. We see Sean Atkins has had an incident. See what happens to Sean here. Coming across the start-finish line, coming into corner one, and looks like, that's really odd. Him and, not sure who that was. Looks like him and Gary Schilling just get together. Gary looks like, I don't know if he saw him on the inside there or not, and unfortunately Sean has had to take that thing back to the pit. Not what Sean wanted to have happen here tonight, unfortunately. As we see Terry Kroger has managed to jump out. Got a little gap between Paul Skip. Now that gap to Paul. Paul Skip finishes third. Is all he's got to do. Depending on where David Lehman finishes. These guys need some help. They need David Lehman to have some kind of issues or fall way back. And unfortunately, with only being really 10 drivers on the track as Brad McCombs is in the pits. David Lehman is looking pretty sweet at the moment for the season championship. We are going to jump down here as we see GT3 Aaron Clayball stretching that lead just ever so slightly over Nicholas Paletti. We still have an hour and 36 minutes left of racing, but Aaron likes to see a little gap behind him and a lot of gap in front of him. As the GTE field, excuse me, has managed to pull away a little bit. But you see behind him, we have a whole field of GT3 cars coming. We're here with Adria Garcia, Keith Williams, and the other title contender, Carl Handwerk. Carl has managed to move up one position so far. Now, we are going to jump over here because I'm curious to see what... All right, Roger's got the AlienAwards.net Porsche out tonight. Looks good, Roger. I like that paint scheme. Looks really good on the Porsche. Nice looking on the Porsche, Roger. As you see, he's just behind David Lehman. Nice to see David Lehman out here. I wasn't sure he was going to make it, but nice to see he's here. Hopefully he can finish the whole race and take home a well-deserved championship. He's worked hard all season for that. Meanwhile, Terry Kroger is got just a little bit of a gap. Looks like Nick Terrell has closed the gap just ever so slightly. Pulled about 0.4 back last lap. Looks like Tyler Langenberg's had another incident. See if we can happen to Tyler. See here, that looks like coming down after the bus stop. Down here where Brad McCombs head is this. Oh, and he's just going to get caught up in somebody else's mess. And you see, you come around that corner, and it's hard to see there. Let's see if we can jump back in on that one. We're going to look at it from Tyler's viewpoint. And you can see when he comes around that corner. Well, this is all he's going to see. He's coming around that corner, and it is, you can't see now. There's already a crash up there, and he doesn't have any clue what he's coming around the corner to see. And there's just nowhere he could go. And that is the difficulties of Watkins Glen. A lot of incidents take place down there in that corner, and you come around there and you can't see it until it's too late. As we see Terry Kroger and Nick Terrell is right up on the back of him now, and they've Patrick Ripley is up 3 spots in his usual Ford GT, the only Ford GT out here tonight. That doesn't surprise you, though. Patrick, he's kind of got a fondness for Fords. Let's see what else we got going on, if we got any battles. We got a battlist tonight between Nicholas Paletti and Jimmy Covert. Jimmy's found some pace here tonight. Nice to see Jimmy running up there in the top 3. And Carl's managed to move up one more position, so Carl is on the move, slowly making his way back towards the front, trying to get through some lap traffic. And it looks like Mr. Brad McCombs has unfortunately put it on the hauler. Sad to see for Brad tonight, out on lap 1, just trying to avoid an incident, and oh, that's a shame to see. You don't want to ever see that happen. As we see here, oh, it looks like Tony Watson's had an incident. Let's see if we can see what happened to Tony. Coming, oh, around those last set of corners, just gets it into the wall. Hopefully he's close enough to the pits where he can just, oh, past pit lane already. Oh, what an unfortunate deal for Tony as well. Hopefully there's not too much damage to that Porsche. He does have a fast repair, so he will be able to get that thing fixed when he goes in for his next pit stop, or his only pit stop. I do believe GTE will have 2 pit stops tonight due to fuel load, and GT3 cars will just come in once again tonight. Be interesting to see who takes tires, if anybody takes tires. Let's see what we got here. Track temperature is only 77 degrees, so not very warm. Watkins Glen, pretty flowing track, so not real harsh on the tires. It's not a Hungaro ring. In fact, let's see here what happened to Mr. Marcus Osborne's had an incident. Coming out of the bus stop, just gets in a little bit. You can see that back end just start coming around, and there's no place to go. And ooh, backs that Porsche up into the tire barrier. See him now just trying to get out of the way. Pulls out nice and safely. Unfortunately for Marcus, that's not going to be a fun car to drive. Daniel Barnett has had an incident as well. Let's see if we can see what happened to Daniel and his Porsche. Coming through. Oh, it just loses the back end. Similar to what happened to Tony Watson. Porsches seem to be a little bit light in that rear end. Coming around that set of corners up there. We're going to jump back on board here with Aaron Claybaugh. Aaron's got about a 1.5 second lead now over Nicholas Paletti. And again, these guys are teammates, but they are also battling here tonight for the championship. 2 points separates the two of them. So I would imagine Nicholas does not want to see Aaron driving off into the distance any more than he already has. And it looks like Nick Terrell has managed to get past Terry Kroger and has managed to pull a little bit of a gap. As has Patrick Ripley, has managed to pull away from Paul Skip ever so slightly. Let's see what kind of lap times we got here. Patrick Ripley and David Lehman are the fastest of this group. David Lehman is down one position, but he is running some really quick lap times, as is Roger Shank in the 142s tonight. Nice to see these guys. Slowly lap times coming down. Some of the fuel starting to burn off. Tires are starting. And oh, Zachary Nurburger's had an incident. See what happened to Zach. And he's in that same spot. We've seen that's the third Porsche tonight we've seen get loose there. Not sure if it's a setup with the Porsche. You just see Zach quick to get out of everybody's way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are 11 and a half minutes into this race. We are going to stay on board here tonight with Aaron Claybaugh. And we are going to pause for a quick break, and we shall be back momentarily here on the Pony Express Sim Racing channel. The final round in the Endurance for Amateur series coming to you live from Watkins, Glen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live once again from Watkins, Glen, Pony Express Endurance for Amateur season finale. We see here, Aaron Clayball still got a nice healthy lead over Nicholas Pletty. You're 1 and 2 in the overall points championship here in GT3. Up here we got Nick Terrell. Still managed almost a second now over Terry Kroger. And then we see the man that's on a mission here in GTE tonight, Patrick Ripley. Started back in 6th, worked his way all the way up to 3rd place so far, and has slowly been closing on Terry Kroger. Meanwhile, your points leader, David Lehman, basically just needs to finish the race. Is what I believe where he sits with points, and he will take home the championship over the man who is currently right behind him, Mr. Paul Skip. Paul needs all the points he can get, but he needs David to have some kind of issue, and it doesn't look like David's having any issues tonight. Further back in the field, we got Roger Shank tonight. Roger's running some good laps. Currently sits in 6th position, up 2 spots. Further back in the GTE field, we got Ryan Tyler running the lone BMW here tonight, closely followed by Paul Boyle. And that rounds out your current running. Tyler Langenberg, I think he's just in the pits at the moment. Yep, as is Daniel Higley. Those two are currently in the pits. Back up here in GT3, Aaron Clayball leads Nicholas Pletty, closely followed still by Jimmy Covert. These two have been within a second of each other pretty much the entire race. Adrian Garcia right behind them, and Carl Hanwork, who sits 3rd in your overall points championship. Carl needs to get ahead of these two guys, Nicholas and Aaron, if he has any chance tonight at winning the championship. Aaron and Nicholas, well, this is pretty much a case of who finishes first is going to take home the championship tonight. So it will be interesting to see what happens. So great to see these two teammates battling it out here after 12 long weeks of racing. They have managed to find themselves within 2 points in a battle for the overall championship. It will be exciting to see where they finish. See if we got any good battles going on. Let's see if we got a nice battle between... Well, we had one there for a second between Dave Ferrara and Jason McMurray. See if we can find those two gentlemen on track. You see, there's Dave. Let's see who else we got here. Looks like Mark Dillon has pulled his AlphaTauri into the pits. Well, that's an unusual time for a pit stop at the 20-minute mark. I'm not sure if Mark had an incident or if he's got a little strategy here tonight, maybe. You see our big mover tonight so far, Andrew McMurray. Having a great race. Up 11 positions already. Into 11th place. Nice racing by Andrew. As you see closely by him, Christopher Newby. Back here in your battle for 11th position. Again, we're only 21 minutes into this race. A lot of time left. A lot of things are going to take place. Especially as we still got a couple cycles of pit stops to get through. Be exciting to see how things play out. And I believe we have a visitor in the booth, Mr. Sean Atkins. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's up, brother? We failed to keep the greasy side down, so hey, you know, next best thing is come hang out with you.
Well, you know what? I appreciate it, Sean. Sorry that sometimes the races are better watched than ran.
That's absolutely true. Yep. So it is what it is, and we had a racing deal. That's what happens in racing, and it we'll get them next time. You know, and the good thing is this season for me was more of a test session because I was really sitting out to focus on, you know, some other things that we had going on, and it really just kind of gave me, I figured, you know, hey, it gave me the freedom to just go, hey, I'm going to run these set, you know, tracks. I won't even qual. Let's start from the back, you know, and just run clean races and overtake and so forth, right? Just kind of practice.
Yep.
And it just didn't afford, you know, it like I said, sometimes it happens. It is what it is, and unfortunately it happened today. So hate it for the team, for the Pony Express team, not having, you know, all of us out there, but hey. But tell you what, man, this is going to be a great race, though, because this is that final GTE race, and I know the guys are pumped about it.
Yes, yeah, this is, I completely failed to mention that to all the listeners out there. This is the final GTE race of the Pony Express current format, I guess.
That's right. If we had a little better production value, we'd probably have a hot button right now that we could hit that would play bugles and give a little taps for the GTEs. But hey, you get what you get, man.
Well, you know, that's exactly right. You can somebody can find that on. Aaron, as you see, Aaron Clayball getting a little bit loose going up into the bus stop there.
Yeah, that always gets you a little nervous, especially through there because it's so high speed.
Yes. Yeah. So we watched. You know, I talked to some of the drivers pre-race. And they all said the same thing. It was get through turn one, and we had an incident with the GTE field in turn one, and somehow every single GT3 driver managed to get through the mess. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, as a back marker, it had cleared before I got through there, but I heard Brad on the comms, and he just felt absolutely horrible. So he apologized immediately to everybody. He said, "Hey, I was trying to avoid it, and I think it just kind of came up on him quick. You know, again, what you see the guy in front of you getting loose, you know, you start lifting, you start getting a little nervous, and racing deals happen."
Yeah, and it was absolutely no fault of Brad's. He came around, and Nick Terrell had gotten real loose and had to check up, and the guy in front of Brad had to check up, and there was just, and it's coming out, you know, it's coming down that fast downhill left-hand corner where it's blind. You know, you're coming over that little crest you can't see, and
That's
there's
right.
nothing you could do. Now, I did want to ask you, Sean, what car were you driving tonight?
I was in the 911 GT3.
Now, we've been watching all race, and so I guess that's part of the boot sections, turns 9 and 10 before you come up to the start-finish line, and I've seen 4 911s get loose in that same corner.
Yes, absolutely have.
So I haven't seen anybody else, just the Porsches thing. Are we having, is it just the iRacing setup does not like that corner?
Yeah, I know exactly which corner because that's the one I had to battle with the most. And, you know, we found actually a lot of extra speed here this week. I actually was down in the practice session just before we even ran a 43.8, which wasn't the fastest. That tells you. I felt like it was pretty quick, and it wasn't. It was almost a second slower than the fastest car. That tells you how much speed everybody found. But the problem in that corner, specifically for the Porsche, is it's getting aero loose. So right there, you're starting to just lift just a little bit so that you can get the nose set, and then right back on the power, so you can power back out through the exit. What's happening is about the time you're hitting that apex, it's just getting a little bit loose because you've just taken it down just a tick. I don't know why, because you would expect as the nose dives, the tail raises, right?
Yep.
But right there, right at the apex, they want to get loose, and you just have to be real careful that you're not oversteering. Because if you just don't treat her right and you just force her to go a little bit more, she will, but the back end's coming around.
Okay, yeah. But it seems like it was only a Porsche issue. We haven't seen anybody else, just the Porsche tonight. Seems like that's a very common. And so we had 4 laps in a row. We had Tony Watson, we had Zach Nurberger, we had, you know, it just seemed like every time there was an incident, it was a Porsche coming around that turn 10.
Yeah. Yep, and I tested also in the Lamborghini. Didn't notice it nearly as bad. It still happened a little bit, but definitely not in the Ferrari. So, honestly, I think it's that the more or the closer to rear engine we're getting, especially with the Porsche, with all that in the back, I just think it's such a high-speed corner. Like I said, she's just getting a little squirrely.
Well, and in fact, we talked a little bit before with with Aaron and Nick, and they both said it kind of almost turned into a one class car this year, a one car class in GT3 because the Ferrari is just so much faster.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, they did the Ferrari some justice, maybe a little bit too far. But, I mean, honestly, it's because the Ferrari had been a dog for so long. It was just so long in the tooth. I just think the update really helped it. I think it's sort of like what we see in other games as well and other, type things such as this. When you have the ability to tweak a certain car to maybe make it a little bit more popular again, right?
Yeah.
I think that happens from time to time. But I also think it's not necessarily a direct, hey, we're going to do this so that people will do, X. It's more of a, we're seeing that it needs a bump, right? It's a little bit underperforming compared to the others. And sometimes they just get it just a little bit wrong. It goes a little bit too far. It gets a little too powerful, and then it's got to get nerfed again.
Yep.
We're in the high point of that cycle. That's the good point.
Yeah, because it has been by far and away the fastest and the most popular car in really all of the GT3 fields.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just in Pony Express, but throughout iRacing in general.
Yeah, I've been running the GT3 fixed for this season. And same thing, I'm running an Audi in it just because you and I were talking about this offline at one point, and I've just fallen in love with that car. When I bought it and I turned a lap just curious, right, and just absolutely loved it. And so now I'm running that car specifically, and you're right, it is week after week dominated by Ferraris.
Yep. The only saving grace is if you can drive the Audi like it's meant to be driven, it is the fastest car out there still.
Oh, it's a beautiful car to drive. And
I
know a lot of people are going to
think
I'm people are going to think we're crazy, but I'm a believer now.
It is. It's a fun car to drive. Speaking of fun cars to drive, we're watching this battle here with Patrick Ripley and David Lehman, who I talked a little bit Monday night. We weren't sure if he was going to be able to make it to the season finale. He wasn't sure if he was going to. He has been slowly, lap after lap after lap, reeling in the front of these GTE guys. Now, I'm not in the position that David's in to win the championship. You're not in the position. Knowing you just have to finish. What are your thoughts, Sean? He's obviously going to be out there. He's a racer. He's going to want to compete. But are you David Lehman of, hey, all I need to do is finish the race and I got this championship? Or is he in the mindset of, I'm going to win and win the championship?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I wish I knew David better to be able to have some insight into his particular thinking of the situation. Oh, and we got a situation, it looks like. Coming right around that same bend, and it's a Ferrari. Who is that? The purple and black car.
Richard Curry had an incident here. Does he get caught in the Porsche turn?
I think it was.
That is, a hard hit by Richard Curry.
That's tough.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, you're already past pit entrance there, or you're right close to it. And we've seen a lot of guys there have to make that long drive all the way around. Meanwhile, David Lehman has pulled right up on the back of Patrick Ripley here.
Whew. Yeah, I think that's all we probably need to know, right? And probably to some degree, his thought process is, hey man, if I'm out front, I can't get caught up in other people's mess. Now, we both know that once we hit traffic, once we start lapping folks, then it's going to obviously become a mess anyway. But up until then, he can have a clean racetrack.
Well, and he's already caught traffic, so now we're in that part of the race where at some point in time he's going to have to pit, and you see the GT3 guys trying to get out of the way, and it's just so hard on Watkins Glen with the way these corners are to get out of the way without losing control.
Yeah, it sure is. Absolutely, especially because they are such high-speed corners.
Yeah, but you see there, Christopher Newby is getting out of the way. Now, my next question would be, and we both know Patrick Ripley. He's a good guy, loves to race. He does not want to be the man who wrecked and caused somebody to lose a championship. but he's also ultra competitive and he wants to win this. Do you think part of him is thinking, I wish David would back off or get by me? Or do you just think I'm head down, I don't care, I'm running, I'm here for the W?
Yeah, what I want to see from him is the latter, right? I want to see him just head down, I'm here for the win, because that's what he should be going for, right? If it was any other position other than P1, then maybe you cut up Lehman some slack and you say, hey, man, I don't want to be the guy that races you too hard and causes you not to finish. But if it's P1, sorry, nobody gets nobody's entitled to P1.
Correct.
Ever.
No. And, and I don't, David Lehman, you see him running around, they're running almost identical lap times. They're, it's a little bit slower than what David's ran his best lap, but not a lot. So I don't think Patrick's really holding him up any. Oh, as you see, Patrick is, he is going to make room for him and David.
Uh-oh.
Is he, is that Andrew McMurray? I think he just kind of pushed Andrew McMurray off to the side, and
oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, it's such a hard place to make passes. You have so much more speed going into there, and he sees David Lehman in the back. He knows that he's got to get through there. He's got to get through there. But I'll tell you one gentleman, Patrick, kind of held everybody up, and Paul Skip managed to close right up on the back of these guys.
Ooh, yeah. See, I guess that's my thought, right? My thought is race hard, go for the win. That's what you want race drivers to do. That's why they're called racers. We're not called to sit around behind somebody.
And there we have Richard Curry again, and he went off in that spot where you can't see anybody. Yeah. Luckily, he was able to get that thing stopped and towed before these guys came through, because that could have been disastrous.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's, again, you want racers to be racers, but I think if I'm Lehman, I think I'm focusing on just hitting my marks. That's all I'm focused on, because I don't want to do it to myself trying to be over competitive or chasing the dragon, right? You don't, and we got a KISS Porsche around.
David Barnett, are we in the Porsche corner again?
I believe we are, sir.
You see, he's going to come through and he's going to come around right in front of Tony Watson, who's looking at, and Daniel Barnett that's the second time he's kissed that wall there.
It's a tough one. If, like I said, you really, and the best way that I found to get through that corner specifically was to just, instead of doing what I would normally do, which is maybe a quick lift or a light lift, I'm almost trying to drive the car a little bit with the throttle and trying to stay out of the steering as much as possible. So I have a lot flatter steering wheel than I normally would, trying to just help get the car around the corner. That actually helps it from looping, believe it or not.
Well, I would imagine right now there's probably 3 or 4 Porsche guys on track that would love that piece of advice.
Yeah. Well,
not today.
Would be unfair.
Well, we talked about putting your head down and hitting your marks, and Aaron Clayball has done exactly that tonight. He's leading in the points battle. He knows that the battle is between him and Nicholas Plutty, and all he's got to do is finish in front, and he is consistently running great lap times. In fact, just ran his fastest lap, and he's managed to pull out a 7-second gap, which I would imagine, even as just leading the race, it's nice to have a big gap in front of you where there's nobody you got to worry about, and a big gap behind you, so you can just run your race and hit your marks. But as the series points leader, that's got to be a lot of a relief for Aaron tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you can put a gap between yourself and anybody else, have that nice safety bubble, that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, just to drive around. I would imagine right now Aaron is probably hoping for 55 minutes of practice laps.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep.
He doesn't want to see another car. He doesn't want to be near another car.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Don't talk to me.
Oh,
Don't mess
we've
with
got
me.
an incident in the pit lane. I think that's David Hurst. Yep, he had an incident coming off of pit road. It's an odd spot.
Yeah,
I don't know
but
if it
Too
almost
early in the gas?
it almost looks
right?
like maybe we had a disconnect.
Oh.
The way he's just sitting there. Yep.
Oh,
and then
that's
he back to pit. Luckily, he did that right in front of Terry Kroger, Nick Terrell, David Lehman. Man,
Yeah,
I'll
just
tell you
woke 'em
what.
up. Keep them focused.
Yes, every leader tonight has had an incident, and one of those moments where it just gets a little uncomfortable. But we see Nick Terrell has managed to in and out of pit lane. No tires for these guys. Terry Kroger.
Yeah. I tell you, it's like pulling teeth to get these guys to change a set of tires. You'd almost think they were trying to ration the rubber for the war. I mean, guys, take the tires, man. No, but it is because, right, nobody wants to lose that time. Nobody wants to take the time to trade the time for tires and lose all that track position.
Correct, especially if, in places like Watkins Glen, it's cooler tonight. It's not, it's not the Red Bull Ring where it's 125 degrees. So, and you know these guys, Sean, you've done it, I've done it. They've run lap after lap after lap. What's the tire wear after 10 laps? What's the tire wear after 20 laps? What's it after 40 laps? Okay, is the fall off enough to where I can afford to change tires? Well, sometimes it's just, that extra 30 seconds in the pit, you're not going to make that up. You might lose a half a second or a full second later on in the race, but you're still ahead at the end of the game.
That's right.
Especially if you're the only one that takes the tires.
Yeah, I mean, and we have seen it work. We have seen where taking tires has been better than not.
Oh,
Which
definitely.
You think, duh, but my point being is so far, and for so long in this league specifically, you just couldn't take that chance because of how the race was, the length of the race and how it always seemed to work out. If you took tires, it was a death sentence. There was no way you were making a podium. But now at least we're starting to see where it can work.
Yes, and next season, we add that little bit of extra time is going to make that decision even more crucial.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what you want. You want it to be a risk reward.
Yep.
You want it to where if you take that chance, you have a chance to make it up. Where right now, the drop-off is so minimal, you just don't have enough time left. So if everybody doesn't do it, you're stuck not doing it. You can't afford to give up that much time.
Yep. And that's the thing, that with this being especially an amateurs league, we would probably be better served, most of us, if not all of us, by, probably taking tires.
Oh, definitely.
The number one thing right now should be, hey, finish the race. That should be goal number one. Finish the race with 0 or very low incidents, and then we focus on winning after that. Now, obviously, some of our leaders and our consistent leaders, those guys have it in spades, right? They're just consistent week after week. That's why they're leading.
Yeah, we see traffic. Once again, you see
Nothing but traffic.
nothing but traffic. And we just talked a minute ago, Aaron Clayball not wanting to see traffic, not wanting to see incidents, not wanting to see anybody else on the track, and he's stuck trying to get around Marcus Osborne. Meanwhile, he's trying to let David Lehman and Paul Skipworth, in their own battle for a championship, get through.
Oh, we got another one. Jimmy Covert just in an incident.
Oh, Jimmy. See what happened to Jimmy. No, looks like Jimmy might have had... Oh, he's trying to block that inside line and just doesn't leave any space. And I'm not sure. I think that's him and Daniel Barnett. I believe that's Daniel Barnett. Nope. Daniel's in that. Jimmy's had an incident. Unfortunately. Oh, that's Adrian Garcia, I believe. Just not enough space there. I don't know. That looks like two guys battling hard for a position.
Yeah, again, though, we're how many minutes? We're 40 minutes into this race. So, I mean, we still have another hour.
Yeah, a little less than an hour.
Is now the time to be defending that hard? It's just not. I guess that's my thoughts on it, and I'll go to my grave saying that. I think it's, it's not that we shouldn't just be trying to fight for positions defending. Absolutely, drivers should be. But we also need to be racing smart to where, the first part of the race, hey, maybe you let that guy go, right? Maybe he has an incident. Maybe you end up saving tires. You can get back around him. Long race left. Because I think defending really aggressively early in races causes a lot of incidents.
Yes, especially, battle for 5th, 6th place. I can see that if we're 10 minutes to go. But just not,
Yep.
I don't know, especially there at that part of the track where nothing good's going to happen. It's going to end
right.
up poorly for somebody. And unfortunately for Jimmy, that's usually the case. It's usually the guy that is over aggressive, overly defensive that usually ends up paying the price.
Yep. Agreed.
So, but what that did do was let Carl Handwerk slide up a couple more positions. Now he's we've watched Carl for the last half of the season be quick, be fast. Carl needs to chase down Nicholas Pletty, chase down Aaron Kleba, and hope for some help as well if he wants to take home his second championship here in Pony Express.
Yeah, I would say that might be tough to do, but I don't know, man. Carl can find a way to do it. He's shown it before.
Yes.
Till that checker falls, if he's on the podium, he's a threat.
That's correct. Yeah, as we see Nick Terrell has managed to find. Now we talked to him and Brad McCombs after last week's race, and they said that not sure if it was the setup or what happened, but the Ferrari seemed to have found a lot of pace. They both were pretty excited about it. So I was not shocked to see Nick Terrell up here running around up in the lead. He's managed to put a nice little gap, 4 seconds in front of Terry. And further back here we have... we had an incident with David Lehman. Oh, he went in the pits again.
Did he really?
He did.
Yeah, lap 26 it says. Yep, this lap.
Trying to see if that was his second time in pit row. Trying to go back through and see if he had an incident. Because I don't think he can make it on that last pit stop. No, looks like he was definitely slow and off the pace. Yep, just brought it into pit lane. Now, he also might know where he stands in the points.
Right.
He might realize that there's enough guys that have dropped out. Right now, as it stands, I think the worst he's going to finish is 8th. So, he may know all I needed is 8th place. And the championship's his. I don't know exactly what the points numbers are, but in fact, he's back on track now. So be curious to see if he maybe just had an incident. Maybe who knows? Hopefully, we'll get to find out.
You would think that it would have to have been maybe he scraped, maybe he just... So here's what I'll tell you. So Road America last week, I don't know if you noticed, but I probably showed up on the broadcast. I was coming out of pit road. I stopped, and then all of a sudden I disconnected. What happened is I was coming out of pit road, saw the GTE cars were coming up, the leaders, so I thought, all right, we'll let those guys go. And so I just kind of slowed, and I waited for them to go by. And I barely scraped that outside pit wall. Got a 0x for it. It bent my front suspension, so it immediately turned my wheel 45 degrees. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So maybe something like that, maybe something wonky ended up. Basically, I think mine was net code, right? Even though I got a 0x, it somehow thought I should have serious damage. Maybe he got similar.
then that's very possible.
Or
Nice.
maybe he's just being cautious, like you said.
Maybe, yeah, well, and you know what? He may have been in the middle of a group of cars that he knew he was going to have to battle for a little bit and thought, well, I might as well just pull off and get some fuel. Maybe he just, needed a snack and a burger. You never know. The man's leading the championship, so he must know what he's doing, right?
Yeah, and you figure, it gets to be, you can work up an appetite driving one of these things for a while. Like, it's been 45 minutes. Man's got to eat.
That's true. Well,
although we have had it has known that there have been races where drivers have unexpectedly cannot talk tonight. So for everybody out there, part of my job, I talk for a living, and so yeah, by the end of the day, my mind is mush. Anyway, shoot, now I completely lost what I was going with it. All right, let's move on. This is quality
drivers have
television, everybody.
unexpectedly quit the race. Is that where you were headed with that?
No.
No?
But-
Okay. Well, anyways, you think of that thought. We're going to go check out this battle between Nicholas Paletti, Carl Handwerk, Adrian Garcia, all within a second of each other, following behind Mr. Marcus Osborne, who is a lap or two down at the moment. I'm not 100% sure. So again, there is Nicholas Paletti second in your overall season championship here this year, followed by Carl Handwerk, who is third, and Adrian Garcia, who has just been fast. He is strictly here to battle for a victory, and you see them all coming up on the back of Marcus Osborne. Be curious to see if Marcus pulls over and lets those guys go by. Maybe not. And Sean, as an admin for Pony Express, I'm not going to ask you what your thoughts are on that, so we're going to just leave that alone and watch these guys race. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. But I don't think Marcus is doing anything wrong. At least I haven't seen him throw an active block. And you got to remember too, this is going a lap down. And
Well, he's already a lap
around
down.
him. Yep, and so see, he gave him plenty of room. 2 and 4 just touched.
Yep.
4's around and into the tire barrier.
That was Adrian Garcia, who's
Oh man,
that spot on the track has not been kind to him tonight due to no fault of his own.
yeah, and going in there too wide is not ever a great idea.
We see Christopher Newby, see if he's had an incident here. I believe that's down in turn 1. Yep, just gets in a little bit. Contact, no harm, no foul there. Oh, as you see, Terry Kroger has managed to get by. Another bad spot where you don't want to be at.
That's right. Good grief.
Well,
Hey,
sorry,
if nothing else.
not
we'll
what you
put on
wanted
a
to
good
see.
show for.
Yes. Yep. Fortunately, not what Adrian Garcia wanted to have happen tonight. He was having a great race. But all of that battle with Marcus Osborne, trying to get past lap traffic, allowed Carl to pull ahead of Nicholas. Unfortunately, he does have 11 seconds.
Yeah.
Eric
Again,
Fabos.
I kind of look at big, cars that are going to be lapped by a leader. I guess it depends on the time and point of the race. But again, no, I thought that was good racing there. And Adrian is in the pits.
Yep, he's pulled that thing in now. Adrian should be able to go in, use his fast repair,
That's
fill
what I
up
was
with
thinking.
fuel, and he should be good the rest of the race.
Yep.
So that might not hurt him too bad other than the time that he lost having that unfortunate slow lap. So now it'll be interesting, Sean. 51 minutes into this thing, so we got about, 50 minutes remaining, a little less than that, 49, 48 minutes remaining. Carl Handwerk's got an 11-second gap to make up. While not impossible, it is quite the gap to make up, especially given how Aaron's been running tonight.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. So, just to give you a contrast and give everybody an idea of what the guys are running right now, Aaron Clayball just set his fastest lap of the race at a 43.8. Carl turned in a 45.4. So he's definitely right now outpacing and running consistent low times.
Well, he's running a 43.8. Your GTE leader, Nick Terrell, just ran a 42.6.
Yeah, Paul Skip, who is no slouch at all, very fast, ran a 43 flat.
So Aaron Clayball in the slower, quote-unquote, slower class is only a second off of your... And you can see even that Patrick Ripley in the Ford GT right behind him is really struggling to close that gap.
Yeah, and I think that was a surprise. And we've seen that at a couple of tracks this year. It's just been very, very strange. And I think with some of the updates to the GT3s, it really kind of closed that gap even further. So, I think that what we're seeing is a better performant GT3 car, and basically the fact that the GT has kind of been mothballed at this point by iRacing and pretty much by most multi-class racing organizations out there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, in fact, we saw this at Phillip Island. In fact, I think at Phillip Island, Carl took 4th overall. Yeah, and tonight, same thing, right? The guys in the practice session before this, guys were talking about the fact of how hard it was going to be able to pass folks, going through and being able to catch on the straights. Yep. Yeah, especially with GTE having to do that extra pit stop, too.
Yeah.
They work all that time to get in front of the GT3 cars, and then they have to do an extra pit stop, and now they're behind them all again. As we see as we see Aaron and Patrick making that exchange of positions. Looks like Aaron Clayball's pulling into the pits. So your leader is going to pull into the pits here at the 54-minute mark. Now it will be interesting to see what happens with Carl. How much longer Carl runs. And
hey, I've been watching. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd be curious to see if Aaron takes tires.
Yeah, it will be. While you're watching that, I'll tell you what, man. I've been watching Roger Shank, who unexpectedly went into GTE tonight in the Porsche.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that was planned or if we just mistakenly, because that's happened. That's happened to me, as a matter of fact. I picked the wrong Porsche before going into a race. But man, he's up in 5th place, and he's putting it down.
Yeah, in fact, it screwed up the broadcast because the way SDK works is you slot every driver into what class they're running.
Right.
iRacing doesn't put them in there. So when the race started, he was in his own class racing against all by himself. Well, Aaron Clayball was in the pits for 34.7 seconds, which to me says he did not take tires.
Correct. Yeah, I think that is simply a full fuel load.
Yep. So Aaron's out. He's on a full fuel load. And now he's just hoping to get back into a rhythm, find some of that clean track. Now the battle is, can Carl run fast enough laps to close any of that gap? Get in. He's going to have a little bit shorter of a fuel stake because he ran an extra lap or two. It'll be interesting to see how many laps Carl runs before he comes in. As we see, he's not coming in here. But yes, you mentioned Roger Shank. I was shocked. Carl's in the pits. So there we go. Now we're going to find out. Nicholas Pletty's in the pits. But I'm assuming Roger meant to run that car because he's got the Roger Shank paint scheme on it.
That's a fair point.
So he spent some time and effort getting that paint scheme up on point again, as you see it. And that paint scheme for Roger does look really good on the Porsche, though, I have to say.
Oh, yes. I was, when I first saw it, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, dude, that is killer.
Yep, he picked the right car for that. Let's see, so we still have Carl Handwerk still in the pits here. Doesn't look like anybody's taking tires. Jimmy Covert in the pits, Nicholas Pletty in the pits. And looks like Carl is... Oh. Wow, Carl Carl is taking tires. Oh, here we go. Here is the first one. I guess, you know what? If you're going to catch the guys in front of you, you got to do something different than the guys in front of you sometimes.
Well, flip side is he's the guy who has shown us that it can be beneficial.
In fact, he is the only guy that has shown it this season.
That's right. But I think we did get a few others. Paul Boyle looks like he took tires, definitely.
Yep.
Adrian took tires when he came in.
James Foreman. Christopher Newby.
Yeah, so we've got a number of drivers, more so as we get further back. And that's, I mean, if you think about it, that's in real life, same strategy. Exactly. If you're back there, hey, let's
try
throw a new set of rubber, get her some new shoes, and let's see if we can cut this distance.
So it'll be curious once we get a lap or two in to kind of see where the gaps are at. As we see here, as Nicholas Paletti has managed to move himself up in front of Carl, but again, what's that? Almost a 30-second difference in pit stops. So now the battle for Carl is 40 minutes, and he's got a ton of time to make up. So lap times are going to be crucial for Carl. We know that his best is a 143.6. Or excuse me, that's Aaron's best is a 143.6. Carl's best tonight is a 143.9. So pretty similar.
Yeah, and Aaron Clayball has now ran a 43.6. Matter of fact, he was only 6/1000th of a second slower than Paul Boyle. Fastest lap of the race at a .653.
Yeah.
In the GT3s. Yeah, Nick Terrell's absolutely torn it up with a 41 flat.
Yeah. Nick has been on it tonight. As you see him making his way through, getting around Nicholas Paletti. And you see just there's just not speed difference as there usually is. Normally those GTE cars just fly by.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that was one thing. You could always be patient behind a GT3 class, or at least I noticed this when I ran GTE last year. It was last year, last season of 21. I noticed that at that point you could actually wait behind a car through a corner if you needed to, because you could just suck up and blow by them down the straight. So it was very, very easy to be patient. Now it's I think. Because it's so hard, I think now people are trying to force the issue because, man, I got to go.
Yes, yeah, and you really don't have a choice. There's not that big of a speed difference anymore, especially when you consider the GT3 cars. They brake later, they brake harder, they carry more corner speed.
Yep, absolutely. And that's been a weird thing too, right? Because when you thought about a step up in class, you think of improved performance. That doesn't just mean the go performance, it also means the stop performance. So it was really kind of odd to see where they flip-flopped, and the GT3s now have such a shorter braking need than the GTEs do.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, you add that ABS and the traction control in there, and those guys run it up to their brake marker, they're on the brakes, and it just sticks and it goes.
Yeah. I will tell you though, ABS saves you, right? If you happen to make a mistake, yeah, it'll help save you, because you're still much more efficient, right? When you're threshold braking and not getting and engaging the ABS.
Yes.
It's much better. The car is much faster, So obviously we got another Porsche around.
Marcus
Looks like that might have been
Osborne.
Marcus. Yeah.
Are we in Porsche Corner?
We are in Porsche Corner. I was going to say that is now officially renamed, my friend.
Yep, and same spot. And you see him right in front of Roger Shank, and let's see if Marcus he's going to keep it out there though. No, maybe not. Well, he's going to try and drive that Porsche around a little bit longer. Hopefully he doesn't collect anybody else. And we see David Rios had an incident. Are we I believe that's coming up. you don't always get the best. Oh, coming down after that and just loses it.
Yeah, and rewatching Marcus's spin, that's exactly what happens every single time. That was a great example of it. Because I think we got another.
Marcus again. You know that thing can't be handling well.
No.
Yep, and he's just going to lose the back end. You can already see it sliding out on him. It's sliding out. And it just catches, and that's a hard hit for Mr. Osborne. And that's an instant tow.
Yeah, and it's definitely a when you're decelerating an aero loose condition, because it looks like you're in the part of the corner where you're really back on the gas, but we give another one.
No, Marcus or Aaron Clayball hit that inside curb coming into the bus stop chicane there, whatever we want to call it. Is it the bus stop? I know that's the Daytona term.
Yeah, it is the bus stop, I believe.
No, that's what I'm calling it. But man, he took that inside curb and caught just a little bit too much, and it sent that little Ferrari flying there. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep control of it.
Yeah, you've got to push these corners. You got to push those curves to try to flatten that thing out as much as possible.
Well, I'm starting to look at some lap times here, Sean, and currently it's looking like almost a second. Carl's reeling in a second.
Yep, and he's a second and a half faster than the car behind him. So he's both gapping the car behind him and he's catching the guys in front.
Yep, he is ever so slowly catching Nicholas Paletti. Now, we've all been there. We've all done that. You can catch a guy. It's not the easiest thing to pass when you get to the, when you're fast like these guys and you're passing 21, 22, 18th place. That's one thing.
Yep.
When Carl catches up to Nicholas, it's not going to be a matter of, oh, hey, Nicholas, I'm just going to drive by you.
Well, yeah, this is going to be another case of you're going to use your stuff up by the time you get to him, right? It's just going to be the way it is, because right now you have to drive hard. You have to make up that ground. Yep. You may be hitting your marks. You may be still trying to save tires, but you're pushing them harder than you might otherwise. So your stuff's probably going to be a little slick by the time you get up there. So now you're not defending or not worrying about just the person defending, but now you're worried about making sure you're not going to goose the throttle, right? Give it a little whiskey throttle. You want to make sure that you're still staying focused while you're trying to make that pass, that you're not making any sudden jerks, movements. You got to be smooth, baby.
Yeah, you really got to be smooth. And I'm just going to come back to this battle because we see once again Jimmy Covert and Adria Garcia, who have already met on track once tonight, have managed to cycle through pit stops, cycle through repairs, cycle through incidents with other drivers, and they have managed to find each other again, Sean. Now, we all get emotional. We all get a little hot. We all, we're racers. Nobody wants to lose, and nobody wants to be pushed around. Adria's had 2 incidents already tonight where he's got caught up in somebody else's mistakes and probably feels a little bit wronged. How hard is it for him to catch the car that maybe he is, maybe he's not real happy to see at the moment, and to try to get by him cleanly without doing something that's going to jeopardize his race?
Yeah, and that's going to be real hard, right? I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what he'll do, but when you're in that seat and you're behind that wheel, and it really doesn't seem to matter whether it's in real life, if it's virtually, if it's in a simulator, etc., drivers get hot, man. Drivers lose all patience once they are strapped in. And I expect that's probably what Adrian's feeling like. Hey, he's been on the wrong side of a couple of incidents that weren't of his doing. And I think he's probably extremely frustrated. But, yeah, because the other side of it, right, is what if you do go after the person that caused you some issues? What happens if trying to pay him back, it goes wrong for you? Now you've just done it to your own team. Yes. And the only thing I'll say about that is I have personal experience about it.
I think we all do.
Yep.
Yes.
And that is the worst feeling in the world.
Yep.
When you come out of that red rage and you can become a human again and you go, oh man, It's horrible.
It
But
is.
it happens to all of us. So I'm sure right now, Adrian is going to do everything he can to get to that bumper. I don't think he'll do anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to just make sure he stays as close as possible if he can get there, to see if he can, just make him a little nervous.
Yep.
Force a mistake.
Both of these guys pitted similar lap times. Both took tires. And as a broadcaster, I want to see that battle. I want to see that race, but you also want to see it clean.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're not running NASCAR here. This isn't COTA. We're not. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I loved it, and I thought it was that race, the way it ended. I thought it was perfect.
It was awesome.
The first guy did it, so hey, man, you have to know it's coming back, right?
Yep.
How long has that happened at Bristol? Years and years and years. And usually one of those two cars was Dale Earnhardt Sr.
He was kind of good at it.
Heck yeah, man. And you knew if he got to your bumper, he was going to give you a little tap.
Yep.
Just to get you loose, get you out of the way so he could sneak underneath of you.
Yep.
But we're not in that. We're in, these cars.
Oh.
And we got a Lambo in the wall on Porsche
Christopher
Corner.
Newby. Christopher's had quite the eventful race here tonight, and he's had that right in front of Jimmy Colbert. Well, he can't crash there. He's not in a Porsche.
Well, remember, they're both owned by the VW Group, so.
Oh, that's true, but Christopher didn't get the memo, apparently. Oh, that's a sad to see for Christopher. Roger Shank, again, we talked earlier about a shock of Roger completely jumping classes. I mean, and he's been fairly competitive obviously he's got some laps in and he's done some practice here, but for just out of the blue for Roger to show up and run GTE, he's been running a great race tonight.
Yeah, he has been very, very impressive. He's still hanging in there in P5 and running a good race.
Yep, and you see Ryan Tyler, who is quick. Ryan's a former winner here in the series, so Ryan definitely is not a slouch, and he's holding his own. Great for Roger. It's really impressive for somebody to jump in last race of the season, especially for those that don't drive. GTE to GT3 it's a whole different ball game. So nice to see Roger. Meanwhile, this battle between Jimmy and Adrian are.
I know. I can't tear my eyes away from it, man. This is great.
I can't, and it is. Unfortunately, it's the only battle on the track right now. And that.
Well, the good news is, Jimmy's being tough, man. He's not making it easy, and I think that's exactly the thing. Hey, he's just going to continue to hit his marks. He's going to force Adrian to either fall in line or go around him, but he's going to stay in his line.
Yep.
And it's working out because he's staying well in front, 2-3 car lengths.
Exactly. And this is a battle for position. These guys are battling for fifth. It's not like we're, back markers battling back here for 20th position. This is a top 5 on the line for these guys. That's a lot of points, a lot of bragging rights goes into this.
That's right.
It's nice to see. I'm curious to see, and without having to watch, and here we go. They're coming up into that bus stop, and this is where they had their contact earlier. You see Adrian this time is going to be on the outside.
Oh
no, Adrian just gets it. Oh, what a shame. See if we can watch here.
Yeah, the curbs upset the car, and it just got.
And it was the inside curb too. That's not. You normally don't get him coming on that second curb like that, but he had such a different line in there. Well, Sean, that is not what we were hoping to see.
Oh, he got loose just before the curb.
Yep.
No, he turned in. Yeah, he was trying to force it, but stay in the gas and force that car through that last part of the chicane.
And we see.
Oh, I see. Yep. The first part of the inside curb, because he caught some grass.
Yep.
So he hit that little ditch. Yep. He hit that ditch, popped the car up. Whoop.
Yep. And that's a little bit different line. Normally, you're not that far inside on that part of the track.
Yeah.
We see Terry Kroger's pulled into the pit, so that'll be his pit stop for this evening.
Yeah, with about 30 minutes ago, I'm betting this is a absolutely fuel strategy stop. Where and why Terry is stopping specifically on this lap, because he does this, man. He will sit and crunch it and think about, should I pit earlier? Should I pit later? Where should I pit? Where am I going to maximize it? And depending where he's on the track. So this is going to be, it definitely has been a completely planned, strategized pit stop to try to pull the win out. We'll see if it works for him.
Yeah, well, he qualified on the pole, so he has pace. He's got the speed. But
absolutely, his fastest was a 41.4, so,
he's
half
not
a second slower than Nick's, but still pretty doggone quick.
Well, and and we see Nick is coming in the pits here. Nick has just been fast all night.
Yep.
He didn't qualify on pole, but he wasn't, 4 seconds behind Terry. He was, I think, 0.3 of a second was all. So he had the pace. He just has got into a rhythm here tonight, and he's been hitting every mark.
Okay, yep. And you're starting to see actually all of the GTEs are pitting in on lap 42 here, 43. So that meant, because I was wondering, because I knew it was either going to be, obviously, it's either the very earliest you can pit for that last pit stop, just to get it done and over with back on the track and take advantage, of getting it in early, just running it out.
Yep,
versus
exactly.
running it all the way down and just taking a splash. Either way, you're taking a splash of gas from your last pit stop, or you're taking a splash of gas just to get you to the end of the race.
Yep.
So it's when do you want to do that splash? When's it going to be most efficient?
Yeah, and this is not the easiest pit lane to hit. You really got to let the guys behind you know that you're pitting, because part of the entrance to pit lane is really close to the apex of that last corner too.
It sure is, and that's something we've harped on and communicated consistently with the drivers is, hey, just hop on the radio real quick and just let everybody know, hey, pitting in or I'm pitting out, right? Because we hit some of these tracks that are really tricky. Sebring, right? Another one where we just had the 12 hours.
Yes.
Sebring's a very tricky pit exit. And so you just want to communicate with each other just so we have a little bit of heads up and everybody can give each other some room and make sure we're not inadvertently causing an accident because, hey, I didn't know you were pitting. My fault. Sorry.
Well, Sean, we talked a little bit earlier about Aaron and maybe that difference in tires. And, well, Aaron must have heard us talking because he has managed to start matching Carl's lap times.
Has he really?
Yeah, so Aaron ran a 145 to Carl's 145 too.
So did Nicholas. They both ran 45 flats.
Yeah. So now we saw in the open wheel for amateurs race, tires fell off dramatically in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, and the track is definitely getting hotter, right? We're up to track temp right now is about 81 degrees.
Let's show the viewers. Yep, so 81.
Yeah, and it's so obviously, it's getting a little bit heated. The tires are getting a little bit warm, which don't get me wrong, it's not a scorching track, but it's just going to obviously make it a little bit more slick or a little bit slicker of a track for the drivers. So, you're expecting to see the lap times start to increase a little bit.
Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes on the same set of tires.
That's right.
I'm actually surprised they haven't had more fall off. Although he's about a second and a half slower.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you can keep, when you get in the first set of tires, you can run those first few laps and they just feel great, right? Which is, I'm not telling anybody anything that's a secret or anything anybody doesn't know. But it's interesting how you can actually retain lap times or similar. You won't drop off as far as you expect, but the handling itself would seem to dictate that it would have, right? Because the car just gets to be more and more and more of a handful to drive. That should be affecting lap times, but it seems like we don't see it. These guys manage it very, very well, so they're not dropping off nearly as much as you would expect.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now the one thing that's going to play into this, and I don't know how much, I don't know the exact math. I'm not a math guy. Is David Lehman. We saw him have to take that early second pit stop. So he's going to have to take one more pit stop, which is essentially going to shuffle him almost to the back of this GTE field. Sean, you're kind of smart in math. Is that still gonna leave Mr. David Lehman as our series champion here tonight?
Well, I thought the way this was working out was all he had to do was start the race.
Okay.
But I could be wrong on that. I'd have to go back and check the points. But I know we will learn very quickly after the end of this race. Mark did ask the champs to stick around so they could be interviewed, and so we're gonna find out real quick.
So, as a unseasoned broadcaster, do we go race winner then series winner, or do we go series winner then race winner?
No, you always end with the series winner. Series winner gets the honor of being able to go last, being the last one on the broadcast.
Well, that's going to be really hard in GT3 at this point because Aaron is going to do double duty here if he keeps up this pace.
And if that happens, kind of like what happened in F1 last year, then you just take it all together, and he gets the first spot typically. I mean, come on, if you win a race and a championship, yeah, you deserve to be the first guy on there. But it's different, right? If you had a good race, but you just clinched the championship, then let the race winner have his celebration because he won the race.
Correct.
And then let's have the celebration for the champ.
Let's have the big guys. Yep, I agree.
Yep.
As you see, Aaron Clayball, Gary Schilling wisely lets Aaron go by. And it looks like, as has been the case here lately, Sean, everything kind of spreads apart. I don't think we have a few battles, guys, within 2 seconds of each other, but kind of seems like you get that middle part of the race where everybody spreads out and there's not a lot of action going on, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you just, you obviously you get to a lull and everybody starts to settle in, and everybody's kind of just at that point, hey, let's manage tires, because the first few laps are frenzied. The whole field's bunched up, everybody's there, you can get those positions. But once you get everybody starts to stretch out some, then it's just about, hey, let's save tires. Maybe we can run into a fuel strategy here where we can start lifting a little bit, maybe save an extra lap, right? It starts to become a strategic issue and not a tactical issue when we get to this point.
Correct, as we are, in fact, we're kind of at that lull stage. 20 minutes to go, Sean. What, you've been, unfortunately, sitting here in the broadcast booth watching this. I can't see Nicholas catching Aaron, and I can't see anybody dethroning Mr. Lehman here tonight.
Well, I don't know, man. I think I still believe that Carl could probably make it up. I know he's 36 seconds back right now, and that's going to be a feat, but we've seen him do it. That's the only thing. Whether it's someone had gotten some trouble, somehow it seems to work in Carl's favor a lot of times. So I do agree with you. If Aaron can keep it the way he's running, and he's running fast, man. Last lap 44.9, and even Nicholas at a 45.1. Those guys are running lap after lap consistently fast. But if they can keep it clean, I think you're right. I think it's a 1-2-3 as we're sitting right now.
Yep, and here we see David Lehman pulling into the pits.
And we are joined by the sheriff himself, Mr. Mark Dillon. Mr. Mark Dillon, thanks for joining the broadcast. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Still Paul Skip's championship because Lehman not having a good night. But what you got to keep an eye on, Paul Skip has 6X. If he goes over 7, he's going to lose those 3 bonus points, and then it's a different ball game.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
So Paul Skip all he's got to do is just hold on to 4th place, not get any more X, and it should be Paul Skip. Because, Lehman, I don't know what happened to Lehman to get him back so far. But
Well, he just had to pull into the pits again.
yeah, that's how he got up to 3rd place. He was the only car who hadn't pit.
Well, no, he
right.
actually pitted earlier, so he's the only car that's pitted 3 times tonight.
Yeah, he pitted back on lap 26 for a
Yeah,
second
he came in
time.
unexpectedly.
Gotcha. Yeah, then I don't know what's going on.
So now he's back in 6th place.
Yeah, which isn't going to gain him, and he's at 7X too, so he's trying to hold on to those 3 bonus points as well.
Oh, okay.
But even
Man, this is
being back
exciting.
there, even being back there in P6 or 7 or whatever it is, he's not going to gain enough points on Skip as long as Skip can keep it clean.
Well, there we have it. We were just discussing trying to. It's a complicated battle, and I openly admit that math is, as I don't do math. So we're glad you came on to clarify that, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe Skip still has it. I haven't actually punched in the numbers yet because we've still got 17 minutes to go. And I believe Clayball has it too, as long as he can stay up there. So.
Yeah, well, he had the 2
Absolutely.
points coming in, and he's done. I mean, about everything you could do right. I don't know how many incident points he has, but I haven't seen him put a wheel wrong hardly at all tonight.
He only has 1 X.
Yeah, so he's run. I mean, he has run the race that. In fact, I think you could say he's ran the race that Terry Kroger needed to run tonight.
Well, Terry actually has 0 X, and he's up there in 2nd place. I mean, so he's
Doing
You
everything
know.
he can.
Terry's going to get everything he can, but the only way Terry could win is he needs Paul Skip not to get those 3 bonus points. So,
It's hard to believe we ran 13 races, and it's going to come down to a 1X.
yeah, it might. We've never had a season come down to be this close. I think last year we had Roger Shank and William Alcala come down to the last race.
And what a great way to go out with the GTE cars tonight.
Oh, absolutely. No joke.
Yeah,
mean-
with the Corvette going back to back to win the last 2 races.
Corvette up
That's
there. We got a points battle that's going to come down to if one guy gets a 1X or not. I mean, you couldn't write this up if you tried to, Mark.
The worst setup car ever, trying to go back to back to finish out the GTE season.
Well, if it's the worst setup car ever, you forgot to tell Nick that because he has been laying down lap after lap tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what got into him, but just all of a sudden something clicked last week and he's been all over it.
Well, I talked a little bit to Brad McCombs about it, and he said that something, he don't know if iRacing made a tweak or something changed. He said, but the Corvette felt like a totally different car all of a sudden. And he was liking it.
Maybe the iRacing devs just gave it a little buff that they just didn't announce.
Yeah.
It does happen. I mean, it happens in other games.
Yep. In
Possible.
fact, Sean,
They've usually been pretty good, though.
we got another guest that's going to join us here in the booth real fast. Let's go grab Mr. Dennis Diaz. What do you say?
Uh-oh. You're going to grab trouble. Here we go.
Never heard of him.
Who?
Mr. Diaz, welcome to the show tonight, sir.
Hello, everyone.
What's up there, DD?
Not just watching the broadcast because I fell asleep before joining the session.
Whoops.
Whoops. So
Hey, it happens.
yeah, exactly. So I've just been watching, seeing what's been going on, and it's so close. And me and Mark have been talking about it before we came in here, but like it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we've done 13 rounds. We've had an LMP2 disaster, and we're going to come down to if Paul Skip can avoid getting a 1X or not for the last 14 minutes of racing. That is a great season.
Yeah, it's a lot of close margins, which is exactly what you want to see in a final race. It's this is the final race, so nothing's gonna be held back. You got to do everything you can to win, and may the best man win.
That's correct. Sean, we talked a minute ago about those lap times with Carl Handwerk, and I don't know if Aaron Clayball had an incident, but there was 3 seconds that lap.
Porsche corner strikes again. This time it looked like it was Mr. Tony Watson.
Mr. Tony Watson has an issue on Porsche corner. That would be the 3rd time for Mr. Watson tonight. He has met the wall there at Porsche corner.
Yeah, we unofficially renamed it because that is the one spot on the track that car likes to get very aero loose when you lift off. And you're usually not quite all the way back on, and the car just right there. You just have to be real careful with how much steering input you're putting in. And we're seeing a lot of guys just a little too much, and around she goes.
That is probably the 20th incident we've seen from a Porsche in that corner tonight.
Yeah, so JNR and I decided we should just call it Porsche Corner.
Now, I think, Sean, we're starting to see those tires from Aaron Kleibauer starting to slowly fade away as he's dropped down into the 46s all of a sudden.
Oh!
Daniel Higley's had an instance. I believe that's who you're talking about there.
Yeah, it looks like somebody got a little... That was a weird... situation.
Well, you know what that was? That was Dave Ferrara was pulling over to let Carl go by, and so he had slowed quite a bit, and unfortunately Daniel Higley was coming in with a whole head of steam and just got the back end of Dave Ferrara. No fault, one of those...
really odd.
Yeah, Dave was trying to do the right thing and let Carl get by. He knows Carl's fighting for a championship, and unfortunately for Daniel, who's had a few other incidents here tonight, just caught the back of Dave.
Yeah, Dave obviously got away there. No real harm, no real foul. But in that position, I will say, if you're that driver, you got to either lift or make sure you can get that thing tucked to the inside.
Yep.
I mean, that's because if Dave's any further left at that point, he's off track.
Correct.
Man, it's an exciting race, though. I mean,
this is yeah. now that Mark's filled us in on who's got what, I'm not sure.
Know what's going on.
I honestly, at this point, I don't want to watch any of the leaders because I don't want to have any input in this. So I'm looking for a battle somewhere here back in the field, and unfortunately, everybody's just spread apart.
Well, Lehman, it would help Lehman's cause if he could catch Ryan Tyler.
Yeah, and he's a little bit quicker.
With 6 minutes to go, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we got 6. 10.
I have 10. Oh, unless Ryan makes a mistake, and it's going to be very difficult for him to do.
Yes.
They're only a second and a half apart, right?
4.5. Is that what they are here? It's hard to... SDK does a really horrible job at...
It looks like Lehman's getting him by over half a second a lap.
Yep. We see Lehman just crossing the start-finish line. Yeah, he's not very far behind. That is for sure. Now, Mark, you're the math wizard here. What's that going to do to our points battle should David Lehman catch and pass Ryan Tyler?
I think Skip would still have it.
Okay.
Skip is still at 6x. Lehman's still at 7. I think Skip still has it as long as he can top 4 and less than 7x. Should still be Skip's.
So is it 7x and less, or?
Yes, 7x or less.
Yeah. Okay, 7x or less. Now. And here he is. He's trying to get through traffic, hoping nobody bumps him.
And Lehman's at 7. Oh, yeah, Lehman's at 7. If he gets one more, he loses 3 points.
Oh.
Yeah, and right now, Skip is, he's 23 seconds in front of Ryan Tyler, so he's got no pressure out the back, right? Right now, let's just keep it clean, man.
Trying to get through traffic.
Yeah, he's just running 44s, cruising.
Yep. But
Let's
as we saw earlier, we talked about that earlier, running, cruising, and all of a sudden you come up on some slower GT3 guys, and they're in a battle, and you get caught up in their battle, and that 1X is all it's going to take. An incident like with Dave Ferrara and Daniel Higley earlier.
I can tell you this, though. It looks like Paletti is only 4 seconds back.
Yeah, Nicholas has 6 seconds back at the moment, and he has managed. Yep. He is pulling in, and Carl Handwerk is running 43-second lap times.
He just ran, his fastest of the race at a 43.9. Yep. Yeah, he's cut that all the way down to 22 seconds now behind Clayball.
Yep.
Paletti and Handwork are coming, man. And they're coming with a full head of steam.
They are. And I'm really surprised Paletti is. He didn't take tires.
Yeah, I think he probably just saved them a little better than
Yep.
Aaron did.
Well, we saw earlier in the race, Aaron was putting down qualifying lap after qualifying lap. And now he's dropped off another 2 seconds that lap. Oh, boy, this is going to get interesting, Sean. We got a little over 8 minutes to go. Or a little under 8 minutes to go, I should say.
Clayball is dropping a lot of time.
He is.
Last
is-
lap,
he
he
is.
was 2 seconds off to Paletti.
He looks like another guy I saw on Monday night was losing a lot of time at the end of a race.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, see, that's just not nice.
So you didn't jump in
Dennis-
the broadcast booth after, so Mr.
Hey.
Diaz, since I didn't get a chance to ask, was that tires or was that fuel saving?
Oh, I was fuel saving.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, don't-
the tires are fine.
Don't make
It's-
DD have to come up on stage and smack you. Too
Keep
soon?
my name
Too soon?
out of your mouth.
Mouth. Woo! Drama at the Oscars, baby.
The fact that
Isn't that
you
what
both
they
watch
are?
the Oscars is kind of disappointing.
I don't freaking watch the
Okay.
Oscars, but dude, it's been everywhere.
Yes.
Pat McAfee show has been talking about it. If anybody watches, shout out to Pat McAfee. I'm sure he'll never ever see this or hear it, but hey, why not? Comedians.
Yeah, it's been
Tom
everywhere.
Segura was really talking trash about it.
It looks
Paletti
like
3 seconds back.
Yep.
And he's catching quick. And
I
it's
think Paletti might have it.
well, we don't know yet. It's easy to catch, but it's harder to pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were
Now,
we were
what's
talking about
the-
that earlier.
What is the difference? These two are 2 points apart, Mark. What is this strictly a battle of who finishes first wins?
Potentially, because it's a 2-point difference between first and second.
Wow.
Yeah, I just didn't know with drop races if there was other.
Oh man, I haven't done that much math yet.
Oh, okay.
That's complicated.
Boys, we're gonna have a finish in
That's what-
GT3.
That's what we have Excel for.
Oh yeah, here, let me open. I'm gonna open it now, but it's once the race finishes, it's gonna take me a couple minutes to punch these numbers in.
That's all right. We got to talk to Nick Terrell and Terry Kroger here.
Yeah, talk
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
race winners, and
We gotta focus on Nicholas Paletti and that payday car.
I'll
Yeah.
try to
That-
figure out whether Skip's the champ or not.
Yeah, you got some work to do. You go do math, Mark.
I mean,
That's what you get paid the
2
big
point-
bucks for.
2.6 seconds. 2.3.
And he's
Paletti's
catching
coming.
up because he had traffic to pass
Oh!
through as well. Oh, we had an incident.
Oh no!
no!
Oh, Paletti! Oh, what a
no.
shame! All that hard work, perfect race. You
Gotta
had
be
him. He was gaining on him.
me.
Oh man, Nicholas Paletti. I don't even know if I want to watch that. We see he's coming around the corner. We know that Jason McMurray up ahead is into the wall, and he tries so hard, and it shoots him across the track, and oh, by half of a car length. Oh, gutting for Nicholas Paletti. An hour and 35 minutes into it. You could see him closing in.
Paletti's meatballed. He's done.
Oh, what a shame.
Now, the other repercussion of that's going to move Carl up into second with 0x. Carl might win the championship by being up in second.
What a twist
Really?
of events.
And here's
Yeah.
the worst part. You can see that McMurray, man, he's got those hands turning to the right just as hard
Yep.
as he can do it, and the car just slid on him.
Yeah. By Paletti, by what happened to Paletti giving Carl 2 more points, that might cost Clayball the title anyways.
Because they're both going to get full bonus points.
But Carl has 0x, so he's in line for an extra 3
Oh,
for being the cleanest driver in the class.
Boy, and he just got him, too.
yep. Just barely clipped the back bumper. Oh, what a gut-wrenching. You got a feel for Nicholas Paletti that whole race.
It's gonna feel worse for Aaron once he realizes that Carl probably just clinched it.
Well, we're going to let Mark do some homework.
Wow, and you can see I went back and watched the replay a little further, and poor McMurray, I mean, he's really just trying to stay out of everybody's way.
Yep.
He rode that high line, and it just caught the grass. Nothing he could do, man. Gosh.
Patrick Ripley's caught Terry, hasn't he?
He's about 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, he's about to catch him, but I don't know if there's enough time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to
What
quite
a
catch
gut
him.
wrencher.
Ah.
Well, remember I told you, if something happens to one
Yep.
of those guys, Carl's going to be right there. Sure enough.
That's the thing. Even though Carl didn't have the pace, he's had the consistency and the safety.
Yeah, he
To
took
make
the
it
tires just for that reason, I think, probably, to make sure, not going to lose control on worn tires. I just can't believe we saw that. Yeah, I'm dumbfounded. It just stinks. It stinks for both drivers.
It does. McMurray was doing, like you said, he was doing everything he possibly could, doing everything to try to get out of everybody's way.
Well,
And, Paletti is just, I'm sure he's livid. He has no clue, how hard McMurray was trying to give those guys all the space they needed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jason feels really bad, especially affecting a whole championship at the
Yeah.
last possible race.
And equally, if in fact Aaron does lose the championship, he runs almost completely flawless race.
As they
And-
run, Skip is ahead by 2 points.
Coming up to what should be the last lap here. I don't know if we're a white flag or if we're going to get one more lap yet. I know the time's about ready to expire.
If the time's about to expire, then this is going to be the white flag lap.
Yeah, we got about 20 seconds left, and he's just coming through the bus stop up there. So this,
It's white flag.
yeah, unfortunately, SDK doesn't tell me if it's the white flag or not. You just kind of stuck waiting.
I'm checking the pit lane camera, and he's throwing white flag.
All right, so here we go. Nick Terrell going to bring this Corvette home tonight. Here in GTE. And it looks like Aaron Claybaugh is going to bring home the Ferrari in GT3, but we'll get official word from Mr. Dillon once he's done crunching numbers here. And it looks like Mr. Clean, Mr. Consistency may very well wrap up another championship for Carl Handwerk.
And here we go with Nick Terrell down the final corner.
Down the
coming
final
into
corner, he's going to bring
finish
that
line,
front
and he's going to win it.
Corvette home. Congratulations to Nick Terrell, your winner tonight at Watkins Glen in GTE. Here
Boy,
comes
what a
Terry
race,
Kroger
Dad.
Jr.
What a season.
Awesome season. Way to finish it up. But let's jump back to one Mr. Paul Skip. A few corners left to go. I don't really want to watch Paul Skip. I'd rather switch somebody else as he's coming around the final couple of curves. You notice he didn't get that Porsche out too wide there.
No. Don't dump it on the last corner.
Yes. And
Bring
Paul
her on
Skip
home.
coming around to take fourth place tonight. As Aaron Claybaugh is your winner here tonight. Or
In
well, coming up
GT3.
in
Yep.
GT3.
And
Carl Handwerk
finished
second.
15 seconds back. Boy, he took a chunk out of that lead,
Yes,
though.
he did.
And Carl up 6 spots on the race. Good job. Good race by him and Chris Lawson. Chris Lawson's going to crow across in P5. Also up 6 spots from his starting position.
And Andrew McMurray. But here we go. We got the official word from Mr. Mark Dillon.
Paul Skip, GTE. Aaron Clayball, GT3.
Congratulations, guys.
What a crazy finish.
Yeah, that was a good finish, man. Right to the end.
Well, let's who do we got in the waiting room? Hopefully these guys decide to show up in the waiting room tonight, because sure would be nice to get to talk to a few gentlemen.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I'm gonna bow out, guys, and let Mark and Dennis do some interviews with you. And but boy, had a ton of fun, guys. What a great season. Can't wait for the next one, and we got some big things for everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atkins. I appreciate you stopping by, sir.
You bet, fellas.
Well, Mr. Mark Dillon, final thoughts on the season before we get to talk to a few guys here tonight. What are your thoughts on the season?
Oh man, it was crazy. Ups and downs and tight battles and Clayball and Pletty, Carl, they dominated the season. They deserved to be up there, and it's cool to see how it all worked out.
Yeah, amazing. Again, tonight, Nick Terrell, your winner, followed by Terry Kroger Jr. and Patrick Ripley in GTE. GT3, we had Aaron Clayball, Carl Handwerk, and Jimmy Covert on the podium. For the season, Paul Skip is your GTE champion, the final GTE champion in the Pony Express Endurance for Amateur Series. And Aaron Clayball, who runs a great race, manages to take home the GT3 champion. Well, Mark, what do you say we grab the man of the evening, Mr. Aaron Clayball?
Not only did Aaron Clayball win the championship, that was his first win of the season.
Well, what a time to do it. And
right?
It looks like
consistency.
Looks like we're going to get Aaron in first because, well, he's the only one down in the waiting room, Mark.
All right.
Aaron Clayball, the man of the evening. What are your thoughts going into victory here at Watkins Glen, overall championship, first win of the season? How you feeling?
I'll be honest with you, JR. I'm kind of speechless. I won when it mattered the most, I guess you could say. I was really consistent all season, but Carl and my teammate Nicholas just really had the pace all season to just be a tad bit quicker than me. And I was finally able to capitalize on the last race. So I'm super relieved, super excited. Those last couple laps were really crazy. I'm sure you saw the gap coming down. Tires were really, really getting worn. I was down to 10% there at the end. So I was just biting my fingernails trying to hold on.
Yeah, in fact, Mark, what was the final points gap between Aaron and Carl?
6 points.
6 points. Now, at one point in time, Aaron, Nicholas was catching you, and he was catching you fast. And unfortunately for Nicholas, he got caught up in a back marker who, to his defense, if you talk to Nicholas, let him know that back marker was doing everything humanly possible to get out of everybody's way. And unfortunately, he just clipped the back of Nicholas's car. But there was a little brief time there where we thought that might actually cost you the championship based on points. And you probably didn't even know that was happening.
I knew. Basically, my strategy was keep saving the tires, and I saw the gap keep coming down. And I was going to wait till about 5 minutes to go before I was going to start pushing again, just in case I would pick up the meatball. Then I would know I would only have 2 or 3 laps to run, which I think would have been safe to run with the meatball. Although, yeah, he was just amazing there at the end. He really saved his tires. I hate that happened to him. He really pushed me all season long. He's such a great teammate. And yeah, in the end, it just didn't work out for him, unfortunately.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on the victory. Are you, what are your plans for next season?
Yeah, I'm going to be back in E4A, running GT3. I'm excited to hopefully break out the Mercedes. I love that car, so I'm really looking forward to running that next season. And having the GT4s out there, I think, are going to be really fun. There will be a little bit more of a speed difference, so I think that'll be making the multi-class racing a little bit more exciting.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on not only your victory here tonight at Watkins Glen, but your overall championship. Season 1, 2022, your man of the hour, GT3 champion, Aaron Clayball. Congratulations, Aaron. Who you want to give a shout out to and thank for getting you here tonight and for the season victory?
Yeah. All glory to God. My teammate, Nicholas Paletti, like I said, he was just so helpful all season. He has a lot more time to practice throughout the week than I do, so he gives me a lot of his notes and everything, so that's really helpful. I want to thank my wife for letting me do this every Wednesday night, have this crazy hobby. Want to thank Mark and the league admins for putting this on. Want to thank you, JR, for doing the broadcast, as well as Sam, who did it early on in the season. I want to thank you guys all. This has been a blast.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Aaron. We will let you get out of here and go celebrate with your teammates and your wife and everybody else. Congratulations once again, and we look forward to seeing what you got coming up next season. Good luck.
Thanks so much, JR. Appreciate it.
Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your GTE winner tonight and your overall season champion, Mr. Aaron Clayball. Now we're going to go up, and I know Paul Skip is... No, there's Paul Skip in the waiting room. We are going to grab Mr. Paul Skip and bring him back into the booth. Mr. Paul Skip, congratulations, sir. How are you feeling?
I don't even know after that race. It was so bad. I can't believe I won the championship, being honest.
Well, what's that, Dennis?
That's a club of 2, and that's a club that's not going to grow. So welcome to the club.
Right?
The only 2.
Congratulations. Yep. Mark, real quick, what was the final point spread for Mr. Paul Skip tonight?
Well, it looked like David Lehman crossed the 7x threshold there in the last 2 minutes. So that cost him 3 bonus points. Terry brought home the max, 6 bonus points. So Skip beats Terry by 4 points, and Lehman was 1 point behind Terry.
I'll take it.
Now, you're racing, you got an hour and 40 minutes. Did you have any clue where you stood points-wise?
I kind of did at the end when Mark was talking about hypothetical championship situations for GTE and GT3. So I was like, well, let's not do anything stupid and wreck the car and not finish the race. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I purposely avoided any coverage of most of the leaders tonight because it seems like every time Sean and I brought somebody up, they ended up in the wall. So Sean and I want to take a little bit of credit for your victory, by the way, just to steal a little bit of that thunder. But you got a championship under your belt, GTE champion. Where's Paul going next year? What you got going on for next season?
I think I'm going to definitely do the dark horse in GT3. I kind of like GT3 cars. You know, we had pretty good success at Sebring and Bathurst before it in the GT3s. It's time to like sit down with those and learn them. I might move into the LMP if we're doing it the season after that, but I think the next season up is to stick in GT class.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in that. And who are we? How'd you get here tonight, Paul? Who you got to thank?
Oh, JR, I don't even know, man. So many ups and downs. I don't know if I need to thank anybody that I haven't already thanked before.
Well, congratulations again, Mr. Paul Skip, your 2022 Season 1 GTE champion, Paul Skip. Congratulations, Paul, and good luck next season.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Mr. Mark Dillon, there we have the gentleman. Should we, I don't see anybody else in the waiting room tonight there, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, no. Nick Terrell, I guess, didn't show up. No Terry. Nobody else was an interview.
Yeah, they're up. They must be up, and I see they're up in the E4A, regular group channel.
I can grab them.
Yeah, I'll go grab Nick and we'll get to talk to Nick here real quick. Mr. Nick Terrell, sir, congratulations on your victory tonight.
Thank you so much. It's like I said last week, it was strange talking to you guys in, but it's really feels weird talking to you twice in a row.
Now, we talked a little bit last week about the Corvette seems to have found some pace and some speed, and it really showed pace and speed tonight.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks. That's why whenever I said last week I was really looking forward to the Glen just to kind of see how it was going to go. When I saw I qualified second, just like a hair off of Terry, I knew it was going to be pretty close. I kind of wanted to get out and have the elbows out as early as possible and just try to see if I can get gap or at least put the control in my hands there. But I almost lost it on that first lap. That was glad I was able to save it, and run it to the end.
Well, you finished the season strong. 2 great finishes in the last 2 races. What are your plans for next season?
I'll be in the dark horse and one of the prototypes.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to move up a little bit to the missile, as it's affectionately known as in most cases.
Yeah, I was going to be forced to dark horse anyway, just because I have above a 2KI rating. So I prefer the prototypes over GT3s. I mean, I drive GT3 with a team of mine, and I also drive an LMP with another team that I'm in. So I prefer being the bully if possible and coming up instead of having to worry about looking at my review all the darn time.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that as well. Who are we thanking for getting us in victory lane tonight?
As always, I'd like to thank the league here, Dennis especially, because had I never met him through another league that he and I just happened to cross paths in, I would have never known about you guys, and find myself looking forward to Wednesdays and just interacting with the rest of the group. And now even kind of been spitballing, joining on some of the endurance teams and just get more work in with everybody. It's just nice to be with a good, like-minded sort of group and pretty low stress and laid back for the most part. It's just good to be here.
Well, great. Well, it's nice to have you here. Congratulations again tonight. You're victor tonight. Round 13 at Watkins Glen. Mr. Nick Terrell in the Corvette. Congratulations, Nick.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too. All right, there we have Nick Terrell. Let's go down. We got our second place winner, Mr. Terry Kroger Jr. Terry, congratulations on a second place victory tonight. You did everything you had to do, and you just came up a little bit short, but still a great finish here tonight.
Thank you. You said it. Paul and I were just talking about that. I did everything I needed to except beat Nick.
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, those 2 more points. So you lost by 4.
Okay. So it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah, you would have lost by 2 if you passed Nick.
That's fine. Hey.
So if it makes you feel any better, you did everything you could have done.
Yeah, it does. So after the season that I had, to even be in the hunt, I was shocked, to be honest. So, you know, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have had any.
I was going to say, you had a lot of times on the broadcast, we saw you were fast, you were quick, and you just couldn't seem to get, I don't want to say get out of everybody's way, but everybody just kept getting into your way.
Yeah, it was a little bit of that, and I created some of my own issues, so I can't blame, me running into other people's mess. I have to take some blame because I had some solo spins at the start of the race. So, I'm not 100% innocent.
Well, you had a great race tonight. What are you doing next season here in Pony Express?
I'll be in GT3 in the Dark Horse series.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. And who do you want to give a shout out to tonight, Terry, for getting you here in second place?
Family that, the wife puts up with a lot with me doing this and, gives me the time to do it. You guys for taking the time out for doing the league, the broadcast. This guy, Dennis, that I see in here sometimes, he's helped me out a lot. So, it's a great group, and so pretty much just everybody, Pony Express, Mark, you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Well, congratulations again, Terry. I know not exactly the result you wanted, but nonetheless, a great finish to the season. Second place here tonight, second place overall. Congratulations and good luck next season.
All right. Thank you.
Well, Mark, there we have it. Another great, amazing season. I mean, GTE and GT3 come down to points, and we still have a few. I know open wheel for amateurs coming up on Monday. That's still got a points battle going on. You can't ask for much more than that.
No, not at all. Yeah, O4A is going to be close. David Lehman missed the last couple weeks, and so that really Dennis Diaz capitalized on that, and so yeah, it's going to be close. I don't know. I don't know what will happen. I'll be on spring break next week, so I will. Let's see, Monday night. I'll bring my laptop with me so that I can, or I don't even do points for O4A. So yeah, I'm not concerned about it. I'll be on spring break, and Zach Nurnberger will figure out those points after that race.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, there we have it. Your season champions, Paul Skip and Aaron Clayball here in the Pony Express Sim Racing League Endurance for Amateur Series. Once again, click that like and subscribe button, hit the little bell, get notified of all the great events we got going on, and check out the website, ponyexpresssimracing.com. Get all your information, get signed up for the next season leagues. And Mark, I wish you the best of luck in season 2. I know you got broadcasters and everything lined up for that season, so I wish you the best of luck, and I will be on the golf course.
All right, man. Yeah, we definitely appreciate you stepping in and covering these 2 seasons for Sam.
Not a problem. I'm glad I could help. It was a wonderful learning experience, and it was fun, and we had a great season and a great championship battle, and I can't wait to wrap it all up on Monday night.
Yeah, should be a good one. Watkins Glen, my favorite track. I hate that I'm going to miss it. But yeah, first spring break with my kid, and we'll be at the water park.
Great. Well, enjoy, have fun. And again, everybody, Monday night, we will be back here for the season finale of the Open Wheel for Amateur Series. Please come by, check us out, see what we got going on that night. And take care, everyone. Thanks for stopping by and listening.